students, in previous classes we learned straight lines and circles and parabola and ellipse. Now in this class we will learn another conic section, or it is under conic section, that is hyperbola. So our chapter name is Hyperbola. It is one of the conic section, and if we know or if we understand the parabola and ellipse, then we can easily understand and we can easily do the problems of this hyperbola, because it is the same as parabola and ellipse. So let us see objectives of today's class or this presentation. On completion of this period, you would be able to define a hyperbola, derive the standard equation of the hyperbola, write the relation connecting A, B, E. So identify the shape of the curve. This is, see the diagram. If we cut the cone vertically, then after cutting, its shape is like this. What is the eccentricity of the curve? Let us see. A conic section whose eccentricity is greater than 1 is a hyperbola. If it is 1, we say parabola. If it is less than 1, we call ellipse. If it is greater than 1, it is a hyperbola. So eccentricity means SP by PM. So here eccentricity is greater than 1. Then SP equals to E into PM. SP means distance between fixed point and moving point. S is a focus, P is a point on the path, any point on the path. PM, distance between fixed line and moving point. So fixed line is called directrix. So from point P to the perpendicular distance to directrix is called PM. To find the standard equation of hyperbola, see the diagram. This is an open curve and two curves are we observe here. Ellipse is a closed curve, but hyperbola is a open curve. So here C is the center and two black lines or curved lines, or we say hyperbola, and in the right side we can see SP and PM. S is a fixed point, P is a moving point, or P is a point on the hyperbola, and K1 is a fixed line, we say directrix, and PM is a perpendicular distance from P to directrix. It is in the ink brown, and here pink color is its axis. We can say it is a major axis, and or we can say principal axis or main axis, and BB1 here you can say minor axis or conjugate axis. In the above figure, let Px comma y be a moving point. So you can take a P on the curve at any place or any point. You can take it is a P. S be the fixed point we call the focus. K1 be the fixed line, we say the directrix. Let us fix the center C at the origin. Transverse axis AA1 along x-axis. Here we say the principal axis are called transverse axis. Transverse axis is the line through the foci S and S1 and perpendicular to directrices. The ellipse we call it is a major axis, but here we say transverse axis. So we have to remember the axis here we called transverse axis, and it is passing through the focus or foci. Let AA1 equals to 2A. As C is the midpoint of AA1, CA equals to CA1 equals to A. Draw a line through S perpendicular to KK1. Let it meet at Z. Choose A and A1 2 points on SZ such that they divide SZ in the ratio E:1. See the diagram. SZ, you can see the C in the diagram. Choose A and A1 2 points on SZ such that they divide SZ in the ratio E:1. So we can say SA by AZ equals to E/1. SA means distance from focus to vertex, and AZ means vertex to directrix. So SA by AZ equals to E by 1. Then SA equals to E into AZ. Consider it equation 1. And SA1 by A1Z equals to E by 1. Then SA1 equals to E into A1Z. Consider it equation number 2. 1 plus 2 gives, add left side terms in left side and right side terms to right side. Then we have SA plus SA1 equals to E into AZ plus A1Z. So we can write it as a CS minus CA. CS center to focus and CA center to vertex. So SA we can write CS minus CA, and SA1 we can write CS plus CA. So E that equal to E into AZ plus A1Z, we can write AA1. Then 2CS equals to 2 into AE. AA1 equals to 2A. 2 get cancelled. CS equals to AE. Therefore, S is AE comma 0 and S1 minus AE comma 0. 2 minus 1 gives SA1 minus SA equals to E into A1Z minus AZ. AA1 equals to E into CZ plus CA1 minus of CA minus CZ. So A1Z we can write CZ plus CA1, and instead of AZ we can write CA minus CZ. Then we have 2A equals to E into 2 into CZ. Then CZ equals to A by E. From the definition of the hyperbola, we have SP by PM equals to E, and SP equals to E into PM. E into NZ. That equals to E into Cn minus Cz. That equals to E into X minus A by E. SP square equals to E square into PM square. X minus A whole square plus Y minus 0 whole square equals to E square into X minus A by E whole square. On simplification, we get X square into E square minus 1 plus Y square equals to A square into e square minus 1. Dividing with a square into e square minus 1, we get x square by a square minus y square by b square equals to 1. So this is the equation of the hyperbola. This is the first form of the hyperbola, that is x square by a square minus y square by b square equals to 1. The difference to ellipse and hyperbola is only sign. In the ellipse we have plus, here we have minus. Equation of hyperbola whose center at origin and transverse axis along x-axis is equation of hyperbola whose center at origin and transverse axis along x-axis is x square by a square minus y square by b square equals to 1. See the diagram. Here C is the center, KK1 is directrix, and Z1 also in the green color, it is also directrix, and pink color line is a transverse axis, and here it is the x-axis, and two red color lines are curved lines, two red color curved lines is a hyperbola, and S1 foci AA1 vertices. So P is a point on the parabola. PM is a perpendicular distance from P to directrix. PN is a perpendicular distance from P to transverse axis. Next, where b square equals to a square into e square minus 1. Here e is greater than 1. So b square equals to a square into e square minus 1. Length of transverse axis equals to 2a. Length of conjugate axis equals to 2b. Foci at S plus or minus AE comma 0. Vertices at A plus or minus A comma 0. Equation of directrices are x equals to plus or minus A by E. See, these are all as it is in the ellipse elements. Similarly, equation of the hyperbola with center C at the origin and transverse axis along y-axis shown below. See, it is, we say, second form of the hyperbola. So here transverse axis is along y-axis. So the diagram is shifted to y-axis, from x-axis to y-axis. So like it is looking like this, and equation also little bit changed. That is, in place of x, y comes, and in place of y, x comes. See the equation. Y square by a square minus x square by b square equals to 1. So this is the second form of the hyperbola, where b square equals to a square into e square minus 1. A length of transverse axis equals to 2a. A length of conjugate axis equals to 2b. 4c at s0, plus or minus ae. So two fixed points are there, that is two focus points. One is positive and another is negative. These are on y-axis, so abscissa is 0, and the height on y-axis we say e. Distance between 4c equals to s into s1 or ss1, not into, we say it is s1 equals to 2 into ae or 2 into a into e. Distance between directrices z1 equals to 2 into a by e. Distance between vertices a1 equals to 2a. Vertices at a 0, plus or minus a. So these are all elements are similar to ellipse. There is no difference in the elements. Equations of directrices are y equals to plus or minus a by e. Now quiz. Eccentricity of a hyperbola is, in conic section mainly we see three parts, that is parabola, ellipse and hyperbola. These three are mainly differed with its eccentricity. If e equals to 1, we say it is a parabola. If eccentricity is less than 1, we call it is ellipse. If e is greater than 1 or higher than 1, we say it is a hyperbola. So see the options. A, e equal to 1. B, is less than 1. C is greater than 1. So among these three, we have to select one. So C is the suitable answer because C has is greater than 1. Relation connecting A, B, E is options are given. A square equals to B square into 1 minus A square. Second, B square equals to A square into E square minus 1. And C, B square equals to A square into 1 minus E square. So in the standard equation, we observed that B square equals to A square into E square minus 1. So here the correct choice or correct option is B, that is B square equals to A square into E square minus 1. So this is indicates relation between A, B, E. 3 are here we can see. E is the eccentricity of the hyperbola and A is the distance from center to vertex, and B is the distance from center to vertex which is on conjugate axis. A is on transverse axis. In the ellipse we say major axis and minor axis, whereas hyperbola we say transverse axis and conjugate axis. Summary. In this session you have learnt for a hyperbola, length of transverse axis equals to 2a. Length of conjugate axis equals to 2b. Distance between foci, that equals to SS1 equals to 2AE. Distance between directrices, that equals to ZZ1, that equals to 2 into A by E. Distance between vertices, that equals to AA1 equals to 2A. So these elements are similar to ellipse, same as it is, only the difference is in the equation negative sign before y square, that is in the ellipse we say x square by a square plus y square by b square equals to 1. In here hyperbola we say the equation x square by a square minus y square by b square equals to 1. Remaining each and every element is similar to ellipse. Here ellipse is a closed curve and parabola and hyperbola are open curves. In parabola, eccentricity is equals to 1. In ellipse, eccentricity is less than 1. Here, in hyperbola, eccentricity is greater than 1. And in parabola, we have 8 forms. 4 forms containing its center or its vertex 0, 0 or origin. Remaining 4 forms contains its vertex is h, k. So in parabola we learned total 8 forms in previous classes. And its equations and its diagrams, its elements and problems. If the equations are given, we knew how to find its elements. If elements are given, we knew how to find the equation. And if we observe for parabola, ellipse and hyperbola, one formula is suitable for 3, that is when focus, eccentricity and directrix are given, then equation of the particular conic section, that is either it is a parabola or ellipse or hyperbola, the formula is same, that is x minus x1 whole square plus y minus y1 whole square equals to e square into ax plus by plus c whole square by a square plus b square. In parabola, e square we need not to write because it is 1, whereas ellipse and hyperbola we have to write because here in the ellipse not a 1, it is a less than 1, and whereas hyperbola it is greater than 1. So this is comes from its condition or from eccentricity, that is sp by pm equals to e, and squaring on both sides, sp square equals to e square into pm square. Sp means distance between 2 points, focus and point P on the curve or on the path, and PM, P we already know which is a point on the curve, and M is a point where it intersected or where it is on the directrix or fixed line in a perpendicular distance, that is PM. From P to M, M is on the fixed line or directrix. So this SP by PM we can say eccentricity. So SP by PM equals to E. So if we understand this condition or this logic, we easily know what is parabola and how it is formed, and what is ellipse and how it is formed, and finally what is hyperbola, how it is formed, and how to do the problems when focus, directrix and eccentricity are given, because these are we can easily find the equation we have direct formula. For both the three parts or three conic sections, we have only one same formula, or we say unique formula. So in the examination, there is a chance to ask a question, because if we know this formula, it is useful for parabola, ellipse, and hyperbola. So this is a common formula for three chapters here. Every chapter is contain some problems. So three chapters containing common problems on this. So you have to remember this formula when focus, directrix, and eccentricity are given, means the formula is the same. So this is useful and simple and common for three sections or three chapters. So you have to practice it, write 10 times, then it is saved in your mind. And the remaining questions, based on the, or we can find with compare the given equation with the standard equations or standard equation. So if you understand the question, you know what is the equation or which form it is near, or which form it is the shoots, which we have for each diagram or each conic section. Parabola, we have 8 forms or 8 equations we learn. In ellipse, we have 4 forms. 2 are containing center as a 0, 0 or origin. Remaining 2 forms we have other than center, origin, or 0, 0, that is h, k. So in ellipse we have 4 forms, and 4 forms, if you observe, 1 and 3 same, only center is changed. According to the center, little bit changed in the equation. And in the same way, second and fourth are same. The difference to first and second is only the diagram is now it is on the y-axis. So in place of x, we have to substitute y, and in place of y, we have to write x. For some equations or some points, we have to give the preference from x to y. So this is the difference for ellipse, first and second forms. And in the same way, hyperbola also 4 forms, mainly 2 forms. We can imagine another 2 forms, that is like ellipse, 4 forms. So here the axis names are, we are calling, in the ellipse we called major axis and minor axis. In the hyperbola, we are named it transverse axis and conjugate axis. So in the first form, its axis is along with x-axis. In the second form, its axis is along with y-axis. transverse axis and the transverse axis where cuts the hyperbola, there we are taking vertices A and A1 and two focus for each side of the diagram of hyperbola and two directrices, and one is the center point. If center is 0, 0, we have two forms. If center is moved from 0, 0 to h, k, again two forms are there. So like this we can frame, or we have four forms, and these four forms are similar to ellipse. The thing is, it is a closed diagram, here it is a opened diagram. Main difference is we can say it is a opened diagram. And according to the definition, we say we can difference with eccentricity, and comes to conic sections, if we cut the cone vertically, we can get hyperbola. If we cut slant with some slant or with some slope, like this cross, like some angle, like between 0 to 90, not 0 and not 90, between, so we get ellipse, that is oval shape. And if we cut some particular part in the same way, in the downside part with some angle, we get parabola. So in ellipse we are cutting in the generally middle part, or in the cone between two ends we are cutting with some slope. But come to parabola, we are cutting in one side cone is opened, so there we are cutting with some slope. So that's why parabola is, in beginning we saw how to we are cut the cone to bring different three forms, that is parabola, ellipse and hyperbola. Of course we saw the circle also. If cuts the cone horizontally, if we cut the cone horizontally, then that is a circle we get. The form we say that is a circle. In the same place, if we cut with a particular angle, we get ellipse. In the downside, we cut the particular angle, we get parabola. And vertically, we cut with some blade. You imagine, cut means you can blade or knife or whatever the cutting tool if you take, then vertically if you cut the cone, you get two parts, that is called hyperbola. So based on cutting, we can say that parabola, ellipse and hyperbola. Mathematically or on eccentricity, based on this condition, we can divide three very clearly, that is If eccentricity is 1, it is parabola. If eccentricity is less than 1, it is ellipse. If eccentricity is greater than 1, it is the hyperbola. So you open the textbook and see the various forms and equations and its elements, and you can easily know what is hyperbola and concept also. Then you observe the example problems and try to understand, and then start doing exercise problems. Then you know how to do, and if you have any doubts, you can ask me, so that your doubts will be cleared. You can call me or message me on WhatsApp also. So the doubts will clarified, or we can discuss in the next class also. So if you understand example problems, you can easily do the exercise problems, because so many exercise problems are similar to example questions or example problems. So you have to read the question and understand what is asking and what is given. To find something, he will give summaries, or he will give the clues, or he gives some data to find from known to unknown. So that is, we have to think and understand, and we have to get. So try to do, and we will, if you have any doubts or how to do the problems, we discuss in next class. Thank you.